We've spent so much of our time swimming through form, thick, sludgy, kind of sticky forms. And we notice that because they're so thick and object-like, objective, they've got weight to them. They're quite heavy. That's kind of how we spend most of our lives. And it weighs us down. It weighs us down. It becomes something that holds us back. And there's a sense of suffering to being completely immersed in form, to thinking and believing there is only form. There's only material object and subject. That's it. That's life. That's what this reality is. And along the path or in life, we may be lucky enough to discover some teachings, maybe like non-dual teachings or Dharma teachings, but things that indicate that, oh, okay, maybe that form that I've been sticking to, that I took for granted as being concretely real, isn't maybe as concrete as I thought it was, as I believed it was. And often, once we start on the path, start exploring awakening, we start to recognize that, oh, these forms are a bit more ethereal. They're a bit lighter. I can see through them. They don't seem to have any substantial reality to them. It's like the more I look and investigate the nature of form, the less I tend to find, actually. It just seems to open and open and open. And this invites us into emptiness. You've probably heard the term emptiness, or the empty nature of things, of forms. And this is a key teaching in most contemplative traditions and on the path of awakening, that these sticky, heavy, concretized forms are actually empty of any defining nature. They're empty of any substantiality, anything concrete. So then it can seem like the spiritual path is one of trying to empty everything out. So trying to see through the forminess of all forms and discover the unbound, glorious, empty nature of everything and rest in empty awareness. So a lot of the momentum on the path of awakening, because we've spent so long mired in the world of form as a self, and we sense there's freedom in this teaching of emptiness, we move really quite forcefully towards the emptiness side of things, the unbound, the more open, less inhibited way of experiencing life, less concrete. And that's kind of beautiful, really. Well, I mean, it is beautiful. We start to recognize that all the things that I used to stick to, the stickiness was just a movement of mind. It was just my mind creating, not through choice, but just out of habit, a true reality out of things that are just whispers, that are just come and go. Now, on the other side of things, however, we may be emptying things out for years and years and years, and then we can come to a point, start recognizing that these pesky forms won't stop forming themselves. I've been trying to reside in emptiness. I've been trying to reside in just pure, undifferentiated, unbound, empty awareness. But things keep arising. Forms keep coming and going. And they keep impacting on my life. And that can be quite tricky if we're trying to just reside in emptiness all of the time. Because it feels like an inconvenience. It feels like we've maybe not quite got the truth we were looking for, not quite attain the freedom we were after. I wanted to be free of all these forms. But look, things keep arising. You could say that the form of me in this video, my face, it's being seen apparently, isn't it? You can see this apparent person. There's a form being communicated to you. You look outside at trees, you know, and these are beautiful, like you could say fractal, formless patterns, and it's easy to feel into the formless nature of a tree, and yet it keeps treeing itself. And we can think, oh, well, I'm doing it wrong. Oh no, these forms are still arising. Right, I need to empty it out more. So the reason I mention this is because it can be a bit of a trap that a lot of us fall into. But the freedom that's available is pointed to in the key phrase or the key line in the Heart Sutra. Form is only emptiness. Emptiness only form. Okay, well, what does that point to? What does that mean? Well, it means that any forms that arise, we can know them to have empty nature. They're not this inherently sticky, rigid, weighty thing that we used to think they were, this substantial, concrete reality. We can know that, so we can let go. We can not cling so much to these patterns because we know their nature is empty. And then the fact that emptiness is only form, well, that points us to the truth that the nature of emptiness is to arise as form. It's to manifest. It's to dance in this world as apparent forms and patterns. So there's a reason why form keeps forming itself, is because that's the nature of emptiness. And there's also a reason why we can't grab onto anything particularly, because it's empty in nature. And when you start feeling into that and start seeing that in your experience, you'll see and feel and experience the empty nature of phenomena as they arise. And you'll also see empty nature arise as form. And it happens quite naturally. It looks after itself. And that is a huge relief, because it means I don't need to empty anything out anymore. All of the things I used to stick to and cling to that felt so heavy and weighty, all of the apparent concepts and forms and structures in my life that felt like so much to deal with, I can know that there's no true substantial essence there. They're empty in nature. And that's a relief. You feel the relief in it when you know that, when there's a knowing of that. And also, emptiness looks after itself by manifesting form quite naturally. I don't need to worry about making stuff happen in my life. If I'm just residing in emptiness all the time, as an example, it may be, well, how do I get things done? How do I achieve the things I need to in my work? How can I be a good parent? All of those things. Well, the nature of emptiness is to manifest as form. So that looks after itself as well. What a relief. So we can let go and just trust that this experience, this living experience of life, it just accommodates and manages everything quite naturally without us having to empty out all of the forms or form any of the emptiness. It just naturally does it all on its own. And it does it as us as well, because that's the nature of all existence. We are this, so we naturally can rest in emptiness, and that emptiness will naturally manifest as our life, the form and phenomena and the relationships of our life. So form is only emptiness. Emptiness only form. What a relief.